Hey everyone, and welcome to my weekly check-in blog, where I take you along for the weekend and see how I'm doing and what I'm reading. My name is Wiebke, and this year I'm trying to get myself out of survival mode. And today is actually Friday. After a week of being on the emotional roller coaster again, I took the day off. Well, saying I've been on the emotional roller coaster suggests there have been ups. But it's been mostly doing spiraling downwards or staying on a low. So I decided I need a break from Hanover and booked a hotel or a night in Hamburg. So we're on our way to go to Hamburg. And the only thing I want to do there today is go to a museum, the Kunsthalle, and see some art. That's the plan for today. And tomorrow morning, I basically want to go run around the Ulster or at the Ulster. I don't think you can run around it. And then see how the weather is. If it's nice, I'm going to stay a little bit longer. And if it's raining, I might go home immediately. Who knows? Yeah, we've been having a lot of rain, so the weather has been awful. I've been feeling very unproductive and slow at work, so I didn't feel like I achieved anything. I felt really bummed out, mostly, and I came home completely exhausted and brain dead. So I didn't do much all week. That made me happy. That's why we're going to look at art, and I hope that's going to work. I don't have exciting or elaborate reading plans for the weekend. I have about 1 hour left in Steppenwolf, so I want to finish that today. And I'm not going to start anything, but put an effort in finishing the short stories by David Foster Wallace that I've been trying to read, but basically I've been reading the same short story for 2 weeks because every evening I read about a paragraph or two and then I fall asleep, which is good because I'm getting a lot of sleep, but I'm not getting a lot of reading done in that thing. And I think I need something lighter to read in bed. So let's see how Hamburg is. It's 7:30 now, and my trip so far has been a mix of ups and downs. I didn't take the train I had planned to take because it was delayed so badly already that I decided I'll just go earlier. Trains between Hanover and Hamburg are almost every hour, and it's about 90-minute train ride in the fast train. And I definitely always decide on the flexible ticket, which is a little bit more expensive, but it allows me to be more flexible and get less stressed about delays and having to change trains. And I also don't have to decide on a train I want to take. Like going back tomorrow, I haven't decided what time I want to go depending on my mood and the weather. So I got to the train station, reached an earlier train, found a seat, everything was fine. So far, bonus for me. But then I noticed I sat next to a family who played some kind of story for their children on the phone, loud for everyone to hear. And I couldn't listen to the rest of Steppenwolf because I couldn't concentrate. So I was listening to podcasts, trying to nap a little bit and not stress out about me being too anxious to get up and change the seat. That would have been an option I didn't take because I was worried what people would think. Nothing. They wouldn't think anything because people don't care what you do. But whatever. I got to Hamburg and I was hungry, so I found a nice place to eat and also read some more in my short story. I'm currently reading the 4th story in Girl with Curious Hair, and the story is called Linden. And I've been reading that for weeks now. So my goal was, as I said before, to finish that story at least today. And I didn't manage over lunch, but I managed later over dinner. But before I tell you about that, let's have a short word about the museum. The reason I wanted to go to Hamburg was, one, to get out of town, to get distracted and think of something else than how I'm miserable or failing at my job currently. I'm not, I'm exaggerating. And third, I wanted to go to the museum. And the museum was interesting. I saw a lot of art and I enjoyed it, but I kind of haven't been to museums in a long time, basically years, regularly. So I found myself a little bit disconnected, but there were a lot of real cool surrealism pictures, or there was a huge exhibition on surrealism, and I enjoyed that. And there were also some other artists I didn't know that were okay. I probably don't understand anything at the moment because I finished the short story over dinner, and dinner was a mixed bag as well. I looked for a restaurant near the hotel because I was super hungry, and I chose something that sounded interesting, Indian food, and the internet said it is very tasty, and the prices on there were apparently older, so it was a very expensive, not okay food dinner. And I also forgot to tell them that I cannot eat onions and garlic. So I might have a bad night ahead of me, on top of feeling too stupid to read short stories. I already read 2 summaries or reviews about Lyndon. Lyndon is Lyndon B. Johnson, the President of the United States, which I forgot that he existed. So for the first part of the story, I was wondering why the name sounded familiar, and it was clear he was a politician, but it wasn't directly mentioned who he was because apparently, well, obviously every American would know, and the story was published in the 1980s, so that was much closer to his presidency, and I lacked a lot of information on the reputation and importance of Lyndon B. Johnson. I at some point remembered that he was a president, but not much more. And the story is written from a assistant that he had, and I think it's a fake assistant, and it's very confusing. So basically, I feel too stupid to read this book. I'm still going to continue reading another short story tomorrow. That is the goal, to finish at least one more short story in the book this weekend. But I feel I'm lacking context. The reviews that I looked up were talking about how it's a mix of truth and fiction, the characterization that Wallace put up for Lyndon B. Johnson, and the fake character basically is fake. And yeah, confusing. I cannot even tell you exactly what it's about, other than the two of them, their relationship, their friendship, or whatever, and the presidency. It's a lot about conversations they had and the weird character that Lyndon B. Johnson is, and the assistant is a homosexual, and his relationship to his husband. The ending I didn't understand, but apparently no one understands the ending. It's too confusing and complex, which calms me down a little bit. Who knows? Like I said, I'm pretty knackered. I'm going to crawl into bed now, and I'm going to watch Rain or Shine. So let's hope running tomorrow will be nice. The day has been gray, but not wet. So maybe I can run without getting soaked. And it's Saturday morning after my run. I did sleep rather well, despite having a lot of breaks of waking up, but I didn't feel as exhausted waking up. So the strange thing is that in recent weeks I'd been sleeping like dead through the night, but I woke up really exhausted, so the sleep wasn't restful. But today I didn't sleep through the night, but the sleep was more restful. I don't understand how that works, but it's a bonus. I woke up not really motivated to go running, but I did anyways, because if I had a running bucket list, running around Außenalster would be on it, and I did that. And it wasn't enjoyable. as much as I expected it to be. Usually when you run, you smile at each other, you greet each other. And here, there were so many runners, it actually felt crowded and everybody was just in their zone or in the group of friends they were running with. It was rather strange. Yeah, I did it. I am proud of myself. I didn't enjoy the experience, so yay. I also found it very awkward to leave the hotel because the lobby area is where the breakfast is. So I had to leave through breakfast eating people and come back all sweaty and exhausted, go through breakfast eating people again. Oh well, the hotel is nice otherwise. Now it's about 11 and it looks like it's going to be a nicer day than yesterday. At least there's some blue in the sky. The sky actually looks like in the exhibition yesterday. There were a lot of blue skies with white clouds. Anyways, I am going to look for a place for breakfast and see if I can finish another short story in the the girl with curious hair, and maybe another one? Who knows? I don't know. I could do some shopping, and Hamburg is bigger than Hanover. I didn't make a plan, and I don't feel motivated to do anything. Oopsie. I'll keep you updated to see what happens. Oh, I also finished finally the last chapters in Der Steppenwolf. So the story of Harry Haller ends kind of open. He finds a way of dealing with his life's hardships a little bit better, and he's shown a way of enjoying life more, but we don't know if he actually does. We don't know if anything changes and if he's still going to continue being miserable and even on happy days, sad. Quite relatable. Dang it. I'm actually back in Hanover, in the park, and someone in the train had French fries. So all I wanted was French fries. So I got myself French fries and a falafel. Starving actually. I left an hour earlier than I had planned because I was too tired. I was walking around after breakfast. Oh, I noticed that yesterday when I went to my hotel, I was in the direct connection, that street, and that's also where I had the dinner, the curry place, because everything else looked too far away. But after going to the street for breakfast, I noticed that that's where all the other places I'd seen yesterday for dinners were, and that were amazing little cafes and everything. So if I ever do that again, I might have to look into that street more because that was quite cute. I didn't film anything because it was super crowded and I felt awkward with all the people, and also I didn't want to have all these strangers having to be on video or blur them out. I really didn't do anything. I spent a lot of time at Jungfernstieg. I finished the next story in... I can't open this. Why can't I open this? I finished the next story in person. Oh, going the other way. I finished the last story, or not the last story. I finished the next story in David Foster Wallace short story collection that I was reading, and honestly, I understood even less than before. Oh, this way. And so I'm thinking I need to read something else, because this is unsustainable. I'm just feeling worse and worse and more stupid, which is not something I actually need right now. I made a mess with ketchup. So, French fries. On the train back, I had an epiphany that explains why I'm so frustrated and exhausted with being slow and unproductive at work. It's also, I had quite some intrusive work thoughts about a job I had years ago. Basically the second proper job I had after university, where I didn't do so well. Basically I was kicked out. And there were a lot of factors that were not to my benefit, But I also, even though I did my best wasn't enough. And part of it was because I wasn't trained properly. And I think my brain is working with that, because in that job I was bullied a lot and basically, like I said, kicked out of the position and the job. And it was partly my fault, but it was also partly because I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't know what I was doing because I wasn't trained in a way that I was capable of properly handling the responsibility and jobs and tasks that I had. So that was my fault. There were other things that weren't my fault. And I'm starting to think that I'm worried about this subconsciously. I am in no danger of losing my job. They literally cannot fire me. Or rather, they could if they wanted to and put some effort in, but no one gets fired at that company. I probably could kill someone at the company and would not get fired. It's a joke we have. So it's Saturday, 5-ish now. I'm going to finish my dinner here in the park, and then I'm going to go home tired and watch more TV, rain or shine. And tomorrow is Sunday. I have another day to rest, which is good. I need to do a lot of cleaning, but I'm also thinking of picking up one of the shorter books I bought recently and finish reading that. That would be nice. And all of a sudden it's Monday morning. Yesterday the whole day was rain, 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 and I didn't leave the house. Instead I read The 10 Loves of Mr. Nishino. So let me tell you about this. This is the story of Mr. Nishino and his affairs. Or rather, we hear from 10 women that he had been together with and how they all search love and cannot find love. We learn a lot about Mr. Nishino, and we also learn a lot about these women. In the beginning, I had the feeling that Mr. Nishino is a mean womanizer and he's not a nice guy, but throughout seeing him, I also had the feeling that the women used him. The relationships always based on the fact that the women don't want to fall in love with Mr. Nishino because they believe he will never love them. But Mr. Nishino also feels like he wants to be loved desperately and wants to find out or find love. And it's rather fascinating. The writing is rather dry and simple. The same that her other books are written in, the same style, and I really enjoy that. So this was a very pleasant read, seeing the life of this man and the relationships and affairs that he has and how he is seen through others and how we see him and the information we get about him. Highly, highly recommend if you're interested in these types of stories. And that's it already. The weekend was a success. It was nice to go to Hamburg. It was nice to do nothing yesterday, and it's not so nice to go back to work now. Let me know how your weekend was. Did you have a nice time, read some good books too? Or what did you do? Thank you for watching. Bye bye.